Two giants, one ocean, no second chances.
In the heart of the Miocene seas, long before humans ever set foot on land, the world was ruled.
Darkness pressed against the waves. Cold currents carried the echoes of distant. One was pure force, a living torpedo of muscle and bone-crushing jaws. The shark that dominated. With a bite capable of turning whales into dripping carcasses, it reigned as the embodiment of unstoppable power. The other was strategy, intelligence, precision. A colossal predatory whale that combined brute strength with tactical thinking, using sound.
And for a brief moment in Earth's history, their worlds overlapped. Two apex predators, each the king of its own. What would happen if these monsters crossed paths? Who would stand as the last king of the ancient seas?
Today, we bring that question to life through science, imagination, and 3D.
By the end of this video, you will understand not just how each Titan hunted, fought, and survived, but how their strengths and weaknesses would. Welcome to Prehistoric Planet 3D. If you love exploring lost worlds and the creatures that once ruled them, make sure to subscribe.
Are you ready to dive into the ancient abyss? The battle for the crown starts now. It begins with a shadow, vast, silent, and heavy enough to darken the water around it.
Long before its teeth ever touched bone, Megalodon's presence alone could alter the behavior of an entire ecosystem. Everything that swam, from dolphins to whales, adjusted its course when the pressure waves of a giant predator rolled through the deep. Megalodon was not just large, it was engineered for dominance. Stretching up to 60
thick layers of muscle wrapped around a torpedo-shaped frame, giving it explosive acceleration. A single thrust of its tail could propel the giant forward with terrifying speed,
turning thousands of pounds of mass into a high-velocity weapon.
But its true power was in its jaws. Two rows of serrated, triangular teeth, each roughly the size. Estimates suggest it could crush bone with more than 40,000 pounds of pressure, enough to tear through whale skulls and split ribs.
Its hunting strategy was equally brutal. Unlike predators that relied on long chases, Megalodon thrived on ambush. It patrolled warm, shallow oceans, where visibility was high and sound traveled far.
Once it chose a target, usually a young or isolated whale, it approached from below or behind. That burst was the moment the ocean held its breath.
The shock alone could incapacitate a victim before the jaws even closed. And when they did, the ocean around the strike. Despite its size, Megalodon was not reckless. It was calculated. It understood energy.
In the ancient seas, hesitation meant starvation, and Megalodon didn't hesitate. To the creatures of the Miocene, Megalodon was not a shark. It was a natural disaster, until Livyatan entered the same waters.
If Megalodon was the hammer of the ancient seas, Livyatan was the scalpel. Massive, deliberate, and devastatingly precise.
Livyatan was a giant in its own right, stretching more than 50 feet and weighing as much as a modern sperm whale.
But its most terrifying feature was its teeth. Thick, conical, and up to 14 inches long.
Unlike sharks, Livyatan had a warm-blooded metabolism, which fueled a relentless need to hunt.
But its greatest weapon was its mind.
The clicks, pulses, and returning echoes gave it a tactical overview of its environment, revealing the size.
Livyatan's hunting tactics were brutal but calculated. It targeted large prey, especially other whales. In the opening seconds of an attack, Livyatan often attempted a disabling blow, a ramming strike to the head or
Anchors. This was not a solitary wanderer drifting through the open ocean. Evidence suggests Livyatan may have operated.
Even when alone, Livyatan carried the instincts of a predator that learned, adapted, and remembered.
When these titans shared the same waters, the balance of power shifted.
The outcome of any battle between giants is shaped not only by muscle, teeth, and instinct, but by the At the surface, warm sunlight filtered through the waves, illuminating open waters where speed and surprise rule. In the brightness, its massive shape moved with deceptive grace, allowing it to build momentum with long, powerful strokes. Visibility worked in its favor, but dropped deeper, and the ocean changed its allegiance. Shadows grew dense. Light.
In the dim quiet of the deep zones, echolocation carved out a perfect map of the surroundings, giving the whale an almost supernatural awareness.
Currents also played their part. Strong, swirling flows could either mask Megalodon's approach or distort the soundscape that Livyatan relied upon. Terrain mattered too. In open waters, Megalodon had the room to transform its entire body into a high-speed battle. And then there were the sounds. The constant, rhythmic pulse of the ocean.
The ancient seas were not neutral ground. They were alive, shifting, choosing.
But when fate finally aligned, and both predators stepped into the same arena, the battleground became irrelevant.
A silence so heavy, it presses against the ribs of the ocean itself. Somewhere, Megalodon senses the vibrations first. A low, rhythmic pulse carried through the water. Livyatan feels it too. The moment they finally see each other, the sea seems to contract.
Megalodon breaks the stalemate first. Its tail sweeps once, twice, building momentum. The giant shark surges. Livyatan reacts instantly. It twists its immense body sideways, avoiding the full force of the impact by a narrow margin.
Livyatan counters with a brutal strike, using its reinforced skull like a battering ram. The collision reverberates through Megalodon's body, forcing the
Blood clouds the water. Not much, but enough to raise the stakes.
Megalodon circles wide, using the open water to rebuild speed. It dives deeper, then ascends in a deadly angle. Livyatan emits a rapid series of clicks, each one a weapon. The echoes disorient the shark, ricocheting off the walls of the deep like acoustic shrapnel. Livyatan strikes from the side. A full-body ram collides with Megalodon's gill region, the most vulnerable part of its anatomy. Livyatan pursues. But as they rise together, Megalodon's strength returns. Warmer water floods its...
For a moment, they race toward each other. Power versus strategy. Momentum versus precision. And then they collide. The impact is a shockwave. Teeth meet bone. Bone meets force. When the sea finally calms, neither predator has fully won. Both withdraw.
Interims. The truth settles like silt on the ocean floor. The ancient seas never crowned a single king. In the aftermath of their clash, the ocean returns to its steady pulse, carrying with it a truth that is deep.